Ladies and gentlemen, tag team action underway. In the ring on the right, third-generation wrestler, the grandson of a man recently honored in the East Carondelet Community Center, inducted into the St. Louis Hall of Fame, the grandson of Ed Smith. This is Kieth Smith Jr. teaming up with the man on the right on the apron, the Canadian hero, Sean Vincent. And they are teaming up to go one-on-one with Axe and the volatile Curtis Wylde, who is just, you see, entering the ring right now.
Well, and as we all know and witness, there is definitely no love lost between Curtis Wylde and the Canadian hero, Sean Vincent.
Well, we've been following their issues these past months on Wrestling Explosion, and of course, we recently saw what happened when Curtis Wylde and his valet, WyldeFyre, were forced to be the servants of Sean Vincent for a weekend at the Vincent Ranch. You would have assumed that the Wyldes would have received a little bit of humble pie, maybe a bit of humility. But I tell you what, folks, they didn't learn anything, and if anything, they are more frustrated and more aggravated, and they've got more pent-up aggression than they did before. So,
well, you know,
we'll see what happens here in this match.
I noticed, Dr. Drew, when the Wyldes walked into the locker room the other night, there was a strange odor.
Well,
I'm not quite sure what that was, but now that you refresh my mind, they were on the Sean Vincent's horse ranch,
and they did
cleaning the stalls.
Yeah, they got to sleep in the horse stall. And as Sean Vincent said, you might leave the ranch, but the ranch will not leave you. So,
well,
as we all saw, that part of the ranch did not leave the Wyldes quite yet.
Well, and this is another matchup right here. Axe, the gentleman on the left, a very tough competitor himself.
Yes, sir.
And right now in there, as you said, the Kieth Smith Jr. wanting to do a little test of strength. Now,
Keith Smith said, "Here, I'll even help you out. I'll give you a bit of an advantage." No, don't want it.
Both men having a little bit of back and forth here.
Kieth Smith Jr. playing a little bit of mind games on Axe.
And that's what a lot of this is. You know, you got to try to outmaneuver, outthink your opponent, and
well, sure it is. What this is designed to do is throw your opponent off of whatever game plan they had or whatever their, the game plan, whatever it was coming into the match. If you can frustrate them and start playing with their mind a little bit, these tactics go right out the window.
Right now, Kieth Jr. trying to get back up to his feet and trying to see who has got the extra added advantage here. The height is really working in the favor of Kieth Smith Jr.
Bringing Axe down to his knees, and there you go, stomping on those hands. Even though Kieth Smith Jr. is the least experienced competitor in this matchup, that was a pretty veteran tactic right there.
Well, what he lacks in experience, he has years and years of knowledge from his father and his late grandfather, who just got inducted into that St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame this past weekend. Third generation wrestler.
So this stuff is ingrained in his DNA.
Yes.
He's just learning how to access a lot of this stuff.
If this young man stays healthy, I think you will be seeing him in the future out there in front of thousands and thousands of people. He's got to stay healthy, though.
Absolutely right. And, you know, to advance his career, he's doing exactly what a young grappler needs to do. Wrestlers do not get better wrestling people of the same athletic caliber and of the same quality. That is, people that wrestle people that are worse than them are on the same level as them. Kieth Smith is putting himself in a match. His tag team partner and both of his opponents have over 10 years of wrestling experience. So this is stuff you just sort of soak up from being in the ring and just getting that in-ring experience.
Well, and if you remember back when Kieth Jr. First put the tights on and started wrestling, you know, I had fans coming up to me saying, "Oh, he's going to be a champion. He's going to be a winner." And his first 4, 5, 6 matches, he had close wins, but, you know, he didn't win a match until just recently. I mean, he went in there and gave it 110%, but he was always coming up short. And now it's paying off. He's in there with, like you said, guys that's been wrestling 10-plus years, and he's holding his own.
Absolutely correct. Here's Sean Vincent ready to go against the perennial thorn in his side, Curtis Wylde. You have to imagine, no matter what happens between these two, and no matter how often they wrestle each other, no matter who wins and loses, these two just love hitting each other.
Well, and can you imagine, talking about Kieth Jr., the pressure, here your father in the business, had been in the business, wrestled all over Keith Smith Jr., your grandfather wrestled, and then later turned referee.
Absolutely, and of course this match taking place on the evening that Ed Smith was honored for his contributions to the wrestling business and put into the St. Louis Hall of Fame.
So, my point is, if you're from the St. Louis area, you know the Smith family name and the history that they bring to the professional wrestling, and I think it's just so great that Kieth Jr. is following in not only his father's footsteps, but his late grandfather, and what a tradition to carry on.
Absolutely.
Ooh, big suplex by Axe, as we said. Axe is one of those guys, kind of reminds me of the old Hercules Hernandez grappler. I think he can mix it up. He'll break the rules if he has to. And he's a guy that comes in there and wants to get business done, and he'll do whatever it takes to get it done. As you see right there, working on the Canadian hero, Sean Vincent.
Cranking on that neck. And of course, one other thing to compare him to the very famous Hercules Hernandez, Axe Allwardt, usually never far from his patented chain. So
exactly. And the one individual that we haven't talked about, and that's the young lady on the outside the ring there, WyldeFyre.
The poor WyldeFyre, she had a rough weekend at the Vincent Ranch. As we saw, she ended up in horse troughs, covered in hay, all sorts of things that are not so fun for a rather delicate, classy lady, as she likes to think of herself.
Well, and to catch the fans up who maybe didn't catch it, that match, the leather strap match, that cost them that journey to the Sean Vincent Ranch, was a leather strap match that they lost, and that was primarily because Vincent couldn't keep Curtis in the ring. We decided we'd try that, but they still pulled some shenanigans on that one, and WyldeFyre always seems to be able to get involved. By contract, she's allowed to be at ringside as the valet, and sometimes you like to put her in a straitjacket or something.
Well, we thought handcuffing her to the ring post last month was going to do the trick, but not even handcuffs can contain this WyldeFyre. Here's Keith Smith using that wrestling expertise in bringing Axe down, bringing the match to his own pace. But Axe, that veteran experience with that jawbreaker, bringing Keith Smith Jr.'s jaw right down onto the shoulder blade of Axe's, and just, man, that'll ring your bell.
Well, now Terry Riley is telling Curtis to get off that rope. What's he doing? He took something. Oh, that was a chain that I think WyldeFyre took out of her purse. So there's no trick that they won't try, and Curtis coming off of that top rope. Whoa!
Curtis Wylde with a top rope elbow drop. My goodness, that's a new one from this man from the Wylde side. We haven't seen this. Constantly adding new weapons to his arsenal.
Now, referee Terry Riley, Tiger Terry Riley, as we used to call him when he put on the wrestling tights a few years back.
Traded in tiger stripes for zebra stripes, did the dangerous one, Mr. Terry Riley. These are two really interesting tag teams. Keith Smith Jr. and Sean Vincent, I don't believe have tagged up, but seem to have a pretty nice tag team chemistry. Of course, Keith Smith Jr. getting the upper hand over Axe, but there's Axe cutting him off with that boot to the gut. And Curtis Wylde and Axe are also two men that are not super familiar with each other, but seem to be functioning fairly cohesively.
Oh, up till that point.
Yeah, that's what I get for kind of jinxing him there. Sean Vincent drop kicking Curtis Wylde right into Axe.
And now Sean Vincent.
He looks frustrated.
Well, Sean Vincent's got to be thinking, what do I got to do with this guy? I mean, I've beat him, and I've had him out shoveling my horse manure.
He's beaten him, he's embarrassed him, but he's still there.
Yeah, and now he goes outside the ring after him. And there you see WyldeFyre.
what's he doing?
He's in the middle where you don't need.
I wouldn't turn my back on WyldeFyre where I Sean Vincent. Where'd Axe go? Did he abandon his partner?
Axe
I think
took
Axe
off. I think he got knocked off that ring apron and said, I'm out of here.
I had enough of this. Curtis Wylde on his own here, stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
And now Sean picks him up, drops him down.
Slamming him with that Death Valley driver of his.
Curtis trying to get out of the ring.
Here's WyldeFyre trying to save her man.
Referee Terry Riley does. Whoa, WyldeFyre, was she trying to pull him or was she holding him?
A little bit of both. She was trying to get him out of there, but I think WyldeFyre caused Curtis's shoulders to be pinned down on that mat.
Yeah, I think Kieth
Look at her. She's saying, no, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what Curtis is going to think about that.
WyldeFyre's trickery backfired, causing her team the loss. Axe hightailed it out of here a few minutes ago. Curtis Wylde, left to his own devices, was not able to. Oh man, the tag team, the work togetherness of Sean Vincent and Keith Smith Jr. combined with maybe the misguided offer of assistance by WyldeFyre there. Curtis Wylde.
And now he's
loses
pointing it
again.
I'm not quite sure he's wanting her in the ring.
Well,
she's not. We saw last time
he was really frustrated with her actions last month. We saw Curtis Wylde express his frustrations with, oh, hey, hold on. No matter what you think of what she did now. Yeah, Sean Vincent, you can't do that. Even Sean Vincent, no matter what he thinks of the Wyldes, you're not going to put your hand on a woman. What?
Oh, from behind.
They pulled one over. I think they were planning this the whole time.
Wow.
Was she part of this?
From behind.
Oh, come on. That's what Sean Vincent gets for trying to be a gentleman to these two from the Wylde side. Curtis Wylde with that wild ride, leaving Sean Vincent laying. Wrestling fans, thanks for joining us today on SICW Wrestling Explosion. And be sure to join us this upcoming Saturday, November the 14th, in the Swansea Firehouse for a fundraiser for the Swansea Fire Department. It's a great cause, folks, and we hope to see you there. Reserve your tickets now. Call 618-286-4848.
Hey Vincent, just so you know, you just took a walk on the wild side, son.